like to first and foremost welcome everybody and thank them for coming, especially our guest speakers today, Mr. Mo Ambrose, Chief of Operations for M Gurush, uh, Miss Alam Chat. I'm not sure she's in here yet from Stanbic Bank. Her role is Head of Transactional Products and Services. I'd like to welcome Saint Doe, Chief Commercial Officer of MTN South Sudan. And we think that it's important to have these kind of conversations. Businesses have been allowed to open back up again in South Sudan, and I think it's important that we take it upon ourselves to think of how can we help to protect our staff and our customers and the community at large. And within this conversation, we also want to talk to these three companies and see what is their COVID-19 response so far, what kind of programs or projects do they have that they're working on, or products that they have that might be able to help in the with the response, the COVID-19 response. So first of all, I'd like to call on our regular explainer, our guest Willie. Willie is one of the people that helped us to start this idea, to give us a little bit about what have been the government changes to the regulations since the last time that we spoke. So Willie, you're more than welcome to go ahead and give us a bit of an update on what the rules and regulations are surrounding COVID-19 at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Dencon, for the opportunity to be able to speak, and the guest speakers that you have brought on board. We want to understand the perspective of different private sectors. So I'm not speaking on behalf of government because I don't work with government. I'm working with a humanitarian organization called Joint Aid Management. So, but this information is out there on the responses that the government has taken. So I'll just highlight a few. I might forget others, and then you guys will be able to, if you remember a few, you can be able to add on. So first of all, as per today that we are speaking, as per what I've seen on iRadio, we have like 491 confirmed cases of COVID-19 as per today. 6 have recovered. We have like 6 deaths as per today. So those are the numbers that have been confirmed. So, and then on the responses that the government has, the directives have been relaxed a little bit, because you guys can remember that the curfew time, as per now, it is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, and the hotels are able to open as per now. Most of the hotels are opening, but the social distancing is being followed, as in also the shops are currently open, but at times those shops you don't have to have like more than 5 people at one go. The wearing of mask in public. So public places, when you go to public places, you need to have your mask on. So it's a bit difficult to wear a mask, but these are the times that we're in now. So everybody is being advised to put on mask. On the regional and land transport, as per now, the government said that they will resume. So currently, I'm sure I've been able to know that the people are moving down, but I'm not certain of the airplane and the flights coming in and going out. Maybe cargo planes, and those that also the government have given the permission to land. So those are the kind of measures that have been put in place. Also, the high-level task force has been reconstituted as per what the president announced recently. So these are the kind of few measures that the government has put in place. We also know that there are certain government officials currently who are also, the virus has also taken a toll on them. But of course, we should not stigmatize people, because it's a new disease. The virus people are learning on it. The frontline workers who are the health workers, they're doing a great job. So we need to commend them, and much more is happening. So the government is in place doing things which any responsible government is able to do. And also, as citizens, we have our own responsibility to be able to educate people, because everything is about education. Sanitize, wash your hands, and so many other things. Social distancing when you're in public places. So these are the few measures that the government has put in place. Thank you, Dencon.
Thank you very much, Willie. Like you rightly mentioned, some of our politicians and people in the high level task force have been contracted COVID-19. I think done a very good job of coming out and saying, yes, we do have COVID-19. I think one of the biggest things is for us in South Sudan, or maybe in the world in general, is going to be about the stigma. People really need to find a way to avoid the stigma. I'm sure there's people that are dying or having issues because they don't want to come forward or go to get the necessary help. So I think it's a good step that people have made, and I think that's an important thing that they've done. So I think where we are now, I think we're going to start on now and start talking to some of our guest speakers. First and foremost, we'd like to welcome Mr. Mo Ambrose, the Chief of Operations of Mgurush Mobile Money, one of the mobile money providers in South Sudan. If you're not in South Sudan, you don't know what a mobile money is. It's a transaction that can be done from mobile phone to mobile phone, and it's as good as cash. Mo, how are you doing, sir?
I've just put on I've muted my microphone. So thank you, Deng, for having me. I'm seeing a very good number of people joining your Good Vibes virtual communication. So I say, how is everybody doing with COVID-19? I hope everybody's well and safe.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to talk to you today specifically about a few different topics, but first and foremost, let's talk about your new remittance to East Africa. I think it is. I saw to Uganda, to Kenya. Mgurush are now sending money to other countries. Could you explain to us a little bit about that and how you've managed to do it? Knowledge of being in Kenya and Uganda, where they haven't been able to do cross-boundary or cross-border transactions before. So maybe you could give us a bit of information about that.
Thank you very much, Enkon. Mgurush is a product of Trinity Technology. Trinity Technology Limited is a South Sudanese company, which is actually the first to introduce mobile money. And mobile money is a blending of telecos and banks, what the banks do and what the telecommunication do. And mobile money introduces this, and what introduces the digital money. So what does it do? What do you do with the digital money? It makes everything for you fast, easy, convenient, and control. We are happy that you just brought up and highlighted one of our products which we have just introduced recently is the cross-border remittances. We have opened the border towards Eastern African neighboring countries. Something which is very important because it is actually making the COVID-19 devastation easy for the separated families who are not able to send money and who are not able to see their families. So the only way was to send money across the border, and we came in handy because we saw this is the maybe the best way we can bring in families together. We are happy that Zain has been a very good partner. We are actually looking for MTN also to partner so that we reach out for the bigger number of South Sudanese. It is something still we are communicating with MTN. Once MTN joins Zain, we will be able to have the goal that we have as Mgurush is financial inclusivity. Money has been only going in the centers, has been used, the cash has been used in the centers, but if we if we bring in the telecos and because the banks also cannot be all over the country because it needs a lot of investment, M-Gurush or mobile money is the best solution to bring in financial inclusivity to the rest of the citizens in this country. So by doing this, we actually help the nation to increase the velocity of the money, and velocity of the money means that the movement of £1 to another person by using M-Gurush becomes faster, and that increases the value of money in terms of comparing it to the dollar. The demand for the SSP would be now higher, as you have just realized and you have just mentioned. We are using also the SSP. You can send you can send SSP to Kenya or Uganda, and it is converted. So the convertibility of our South Sudan pound is already a possibility, which was not possible until recently. We used the M-Gurush. This informally, because we are formalizing actually the whole money transaction. You will know that where is the money come from, where is it going, how much it is, when, and where exactly this money has been used, because it moves through the platform. And we are very proud to say that we have maybe the first platform, digital platform, where all the transactions are moving around in South Sudan. If you use those who are mobile money users and M-Gurush customers.
Mo, can I jump in quickly?
Yeah, please.
Just to bring us back a little bit more towards what's happening currently with the COVID-19 response. I think that mobile money is very important in the reduction of interactions between people physically. As you know, COVID-19 can pass on banknotes and on money. But I think the problem that we're seeing with mobile money in South Sudan is that we're not at an advanced stage enough people using it. And from my experience myself, I've seen the posters everywhere, the stickers everywhere. We accept it, that we accept mobile money, yourself and another company. And I just wanted to understand what are you guys doing to really try to implement this to get people to, I mean, of course it benefits you as a company, people to start using your products and services. But at this time specifically, I think it's important that people do start using it. So how are we going to go around as businesses to also help to implement this, to make this to be part of the culture of South Sudan using mobile money?
Thank you very much. I think the mobile money business is a very serious business. It's not the usual trade that is being done. You sell goods and but it is service. It's a service that use technology, but also using what we call the fintech system. We use the financial and the telecos together, and just exactly because this is not easy in a country like South Sudan because of the infrastructure, which is very weak. The telecommunication already. Sain may will tell us that they are already having the same challenges that we had. Sometimes you will not be able to finish your conversation. It goes off, the line drops, but then again you dial again. Now it is a very good journey for us South Sudanese to start this business because it has a lot of awareness. It's a serious operation. We have young South Sudanese who are to be trained and how to use technology, but also to think financially and economically how you can now sell this product to the South Sudanese. But with COVID-19, it has become, M-Gurush came very handy. We know that the World Bank has recommended the use of mobile money because of the cash risk of transmitting the contracting the disease through cash, handling cash physically. So moving now to use digital money is one way of combating COVID-19. But importantly, what it has done is that we use technology and we are beating distance and time. If you are, for example, in Mawud today, or you are in Gokmachar in northern Barakazal, or you are in Mawud now closer to Ethiopia, and you have M-Gurush, you will be able to transact easily. It is changing the whole mindset of how business and economy has run so far. People in the villages are still using barter system. You bring a bag of sorghum against a goat, and there is no fairness in that. So the only fair system is to use digital money, which is for everybody the same, and you can buy whatever goods that you want at any time and anywhere, and you can send this money at a very easy, conveniently, and having mentioned that, to come back with COVID-19, we think we came in at the very right time. What we have done so far is that we were able to reduce our staff to the essential team, and we have conducted like now teleconferences. We have staff who are in India, others in Kenya or in other parts of Africa, but we do daily communication on Zoom or Microsoft Teams. All these are possible because we are able to use this telecommunication system.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
No, let me just jump in there because we're going to come back to you now. There's a lot of people that are asking about questions. What I wanted to do is to keep it fresh. I wanted to move on to one of our other guests quickly to have a chat, and then we can have questions at the end of the discussion. I think there's some questions going down here. I'll take note of them, and maybe yourself, if there's a question addressed to you, Mo or Saint or Alam, you jot it down and then come back to the question and answer stage. You can reply to those questions if you guys can see them. Secondly, I wanted to introduce Miss Alam Chat, who is the head of transactional products and services for Stanbic Bank South Sudan. I saw that Stanbic also had another conference, I think it was on Microsoft Teams with the NGO forum last week. Maybe Alam, you could tell us a little bit about how that conference went and what was discussed, if you're here. I think you need to take off your mute if you're on mute.
Hi, Dane. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'll have to switch off my video just to improve on the connectivity.
Well,
is that fine?
Okay. That is fine, but if you're in one place, according to Saint, he said that you'll be okay if your video, and I think it's better to see you while you're talking. Let's give it a try with the video on.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, you can see me?
I think it's loaded. Yes, go ahead, perfect.
Okay, just a quick brief to the webinar we had last week with the NGO Forum. I've seen Matt is on the line and my colleague Lorna is on the line, was basically around the same topic on our response to the COVID-19 situation in South Sudan. It was quite a good session, and we had a very good turnout and a good conversation going on, from presentation from World Health Organization, from Stanbic, and from SSNGO Forum as well, and a couple of other individuals in other sectors. So I'll briefly take you back, coming back to this particular session, I'll take you back to how it all started in South Sudan. To date, the COVID-19, according to the COVID-19 timeline, we have 469 confirmed cases, 6 recoveries, and 6 deaths. And all this has happened within a span of 10 weeks. And the accelerating weeks being week 9 and week 10. So this is putting South Sudan in a trilemma situation per se, because we're already having the global oil prices, which are significantly going down, although we're measured against the Brent, but it's likely to negatively impact on the government revenue. And at the same time, there's lack of good capacity, good storage capacity that may impact on the sector. On the COVID-19, again, there's very underfunded health sector, there's risk of donor funding, and there's restriction in movement, which is impacting on cross-border trade. And finally, the third trilemma being the fragile, revitalized government of national unity, which is yet to be fully implemented, and appointment of the state governments, which has not happened yet. From a macro perspective, of course, you all know that South Sudan depends 98% on the oil revenue, current production being at 170,000 barrels per day. And there's, of course, as I already mentioned, there's negative impact on the government because the revenues are likely to dwindle. Going to the market exchange rate, we've seen that the SSP has appreciated against the dollar. This mainly because of the closure of the borders and the limited cross-border trade that is steadily not happening. And the currency, it's not going to remain as is right now. According to our own internal economists, it's likely that the rate is going to shoot up by the end of the year to the heights of 350 SSP against the dollar. And good thing is that the Bank of South Sudan has increased the purchase to about from 25% to 50%, giving the commercial banks a good room to play within the market. And from a physical perspective, there's limited budgetary options from the multilateral bodies. So going to impact on the banking sector, it's affected mainly from a regional and all global banks across the world. And it's heavily impacted on the existing loan book. And the government and the central banks around the world have responded with some stimulus packages to support the economies and ensure the banks that remain liquid. Although from a South Sudan perspective, it's different because our main issue is around cash. We're a cash economy, and this has been disrupted because of the global supply chain due to the COVID-19 situation, flights not being able to move around. And banks have had to absorb this cost, and there's increase in cost such that you have to charter flights to bring in significant amount of cash to service the customer or client base. Definitely there's the curfew that has shortened the working hours, and good thing, it's COVID-19 has its pros and cons, and one of the good pros is that it's accelerated the digital journey for South Sudan, such that we'll be able to leapfrog on other ideas that other markets that have implemented and are already working. Though there might be certain limitations in place, but it's a stepping stone, such as putting self-service channels all over the country or all over Juba per se for now. That's ATM, or thinking around the context of internet banking. There's also the issue of exposure to staff and customers, accelerating the rate of infection. And because we are having a lot of customers coming to the bank to try and get their money out, thinking that the bank will not remain as liquid as it used to. Though we're trying to just give the clients comfort and just ensuring them that these are tough times, but we're definitely doing something to continue servicing them. And the other thing is that, of course, you've seen this being implemented across the market. This is the work from home kind of situation. Though the geography in South Sudan, given that there's lack of network, power, or general facilities around home, or we're living in communities such that you cannot be able to to sit and have your grandmother somewhere and you're also working, it's a challenge. So working from home is a big challenge, such that we've had to divide our staff in a way that we have a DR, a team sitting in our disaster recovery side, team sitting in Westgate, and a team that are alternating on a leave basis, such that we reduce the risk of infection. From a regulatory perspective, again, Bank of South Sudan has reduced the rates, the banking rates by 2%. And the thing that we would want to urge the Bank of South Sudan to think about is also just to float the FX rate to attract more FX inflow to support the economy, because the oil prices have gone down, and we need to encourage a lot of FX into the country, such that we remain liquid and we're able to the economic activity to go on. And I had more speaking about this. The mobile money is a big major player in this market, because it will reduce a couple of things. It will reduce overall cost of business, and at the same time improve the hygiene, such that there'll be reduction in cash circulation in the country. So from a banking perspective, from a response as Stanbic Bank, we've definitely complied with the change in the operating hours. We're operating from 9 to 1 p.m. And that is across all our points of representation in our branches, the same as DR. We're able to put branch sanitization and preventative measures in place and ensure that there's social distance within the branch. I'm sure a couple of you have, if you've come to the bank, you'll see that there's a place where there's where clients are supposed to wash their hands. There's also a tent where they wait and just for their turn to get in and get served. And cash distribution also, in terms of cash, we've responded in a way that we've partnered with a very able agent, such that we are able to deliver cash to the client's premises, wherever they are in Juba and across the country. And digitally, from a bank perspective, due to the remote working hours, we've encouraged all our clients to do all the meetings via video conferencing, that is Microsoft Teams. And at the same time, we've halted any client engagement or face-to-face meetings, just to avoid the spread of the disease. So we encourage everyone, all our clients, to also use any digital channel, such that they also reduce on the spread as well. We have 4 ATMs at the moment, which are 24 hours. That is one at the Equatoria Towers. We have 2 at Westgate and 1 at the UN, for the UNs. So you can be able to access your money at any point in time, anytime you would want to. And we have a business online platform that we use, an online banking channel, such that the clients do not have to come to the bank to submit their instructions. They can do that from the comfort of their office, in their homes, or which country they are in, and can approve so, because it follows the same mandate that is set with the bank. It is a good self-service tool, which again, you do not need to come to the bank, not unless you are coming to withdraw cash, which can at the same time withdraw from the ATM or use our agent for cash delivery to your office. We've also reduced our charges on our business online tool. You're able to do your transactions at the cost of a flat fee of $100, and we'll maintain that. We'll maintain that actually, and we've waived certain fees for subscription fee and the monthly subscription fee, and the token fee. And we have also upcoming projects which can diversify in such a way that it will encourage social distancing at the same time, such as mobile banking. That is USSD. Yes.
Can I just jump in there, and can we go over these reductions in pricings a little bit further, because as business people, this is really what we hear and we want to know. So when you said $100 for
I
online
thought I was
transactions,
gonna take. I thought I was. Dang! I thought I was gonna take questions after. What happened?
yeah, you will.
You're
You
interested
will,
in
but
pricing.
like since we're here, let's hear a little bit more about the pricing. I think it's good for us.
All right.
Yeah. Let's go over it in detail.
So
Like as in your
yeah.
reductions, what are you
So
reducing?
we are reducing mainly on our digital channels, right? So this is on the business online. So we have a differentiated pricing. If you come to the bank for manual submission and you have an online digital tool that you can use, we need you to get on that platform. We'll waive you 3 months token. Actually, we'll even extend that period since COVID-19 is here to stay. We've waived the token fees and we've waived the monthly subscription fee. And for any outward telegraphic fee, we've maintained a flat fee for that.
Okay, that's good. I think we'll also, maybe some more people will be asking you questions around that. But good job.
I would encourage,
yeah.
Sorry, I would encourage, if you're a client, it's good to also touch base with your direct relationship manager, who will have a lot more on a face-to-face basis, that will give you more information and more comfort that you need, and you can express any pain points that you have that can be addressed through the same channel.
Oh, that's excellent. Good job. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, as business people, it's very hard to function without banks working. So we're very thankful for you guys also as frontline workers, essential workers, as they say. So thank you very much. And we'll be taking questions for Alam and Ambrose after we speak to another guest of ours. Yes, go ahead.
You cut me off a little bit. I was on my last slide on talking of the last upcoming solutions that we have.
Okay, go ahead.
So that is the mobile banking. That's the mobile banking USSD solution that will cater for the individuals. That's the retail space. You'll be able to do all your payments from your phone. You'll be able to check your balances. You'll be able to do remittances to Kenya. So we'd encourage you to touch base also if you're a client and you're interested, or if you'd want to. Actually, we will actually go out and do the full commercialization of that, but it's just a good channel that is self-service at the same time. And the ATM offers, if you're an expert and you have an ATM card that is from another country, you can be able to transact over our ATM. So we'll advise you in due course once these solutions are ready for rollout. From a communication perspective, we've definitely communicated to our staff on everything that we're doing every single day, and we have an application form from a bank perspective that updates us on the COVID situation. We've already had, as you'd mentioned earlier on, the stakeholder engagements that we've had is with the South Sudan Bankers Association, we've had with NGO Forum, we've had with Ministry of Health, and we have an upcoming one for pension solution management. So anyone who's on this call and would be interested to get on that call to learn more about pension in this market, we'll be happy to share the link with you. Thanks, Dylan.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Moving on swiftly, before we get to questions and answers, we want everyone to feel like they're engaged and have a chance to interact in this. We want to welcome Saint Doe from MTN, the Chief Commercial Officer of MTN. You're welcome, sir. One of the main reasons why I wanted to get you on here today, I know MTN have been doing a lot of different initiatives during COVID-19 response, but specifically I wanted to talk to you about the small businesses partnerships that MTN want to do. What is the out and what is your end goal with this project during the COVID-19 response?
Thanks a lot, Deng, and good afternoon, everyone. And great to see you, Ambrose and Alam. So for us, I think as MTN, our business it cuts both ways. We do deal with end users or consumers, and then we do have enterprise customers. And during this period of COVID-19, our biggest challenge, I think, from the initial days, looking at the trends globally and in other markets, had been how to keep the networks running, considering or knowing what the challenges COVID-19 brings, especially in the terrain that we currently are operating in. So that means making sure we have enough logistics to keep the networks running 24/7, and making sure that even if there's a lockdown, you get all the logistics in place to ensure that you can move fuel or site equipment to different parts of the country to keep the networks running. So that being the first phase. And then the second phase was basically to also help with the education. And with that, we had done work with a lot of NGOs like the UNDP, the WHO, used our platform to accelerate the education and bring a lot more attention or focus onto it. Now, I think when the whole pandemic evolved locally to the level where now there had to be some form of a partial lockdown, that is where the thinking around our small business support program came into fruition, because then for us, we realized that there are different people who are being hit in different ways, and how do you help businesses to be able to survive such a pandemic, keeping in mind that we are also a business and we are also trying to survive. And that generally drove us to come up with this small business support program. And the primary focus is on indigenous startups or local small businesses that are already in operation and would need some kind of a support to be able to survive this difficult period. And I think the biggest inspiration had been globally. In most big markets, you've seen restaurants close, you've seen people who have laundries or other small mom and pop businesses all struggling to survive. And for us, we thought in a business or in an environment where almost everything seems dire and challenges, businesses are struggling to survive, if it's possible for us to contribute or use our platform to help a business to go through this difficult period, then it would be good for us. And also as a business that started as a small business some 20, 21 years ago, it will be good for us to speak confidently that we've been able to help a business survive. Now, because we're a technology company, so we also generally have that bias towards technology-enabled small businesses. And I say that with a lot of hesitation, because then we are in South Sudan where we are trying to build the basics. But what we genuinely believe is that, especially for most of the young businesses out there, the basic or the foundational problems that we seek to fix, it will help for us to use technology to help fix these problems. And that is where we want to inspire or let a lot of the young entrepreneurs out there that you have a technology giant like MTN that is ready to help enable and help you scale your technology business so that you would be able to gain the right traction. And if you look at the COVID-19 as is, because a lot of things are being moved to the digital platform, it also presents in itself a big opportunity for most young people who are trying to build technology businesses. Now, a company that hitherto did not probably have a website would now think about having a website. A company that thought maybe they could always service their customers by sending sales agents would now look at an option to say, let's get an online portal where people can actually buy and pay for stuff. And that is really where we come in and we say, for all these young businesses, we are ready to help engage and we are ready to help enable and use our experience to enable you build these kinds of businesses. Because as said earlier on, COVID-19 is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, but we can only use technology to find a way of changing our lives to be in sync with the new normal. So I hope it's been a long answer, but I hope it addresses your point.
No, you definitely did, and we had this discussion offline before, and I think what's important also for us, the reason why we have these conversations is because it's good for us as a business community to also understand clearly what other players in the private sector are doing. Like for me, for instance, when I called you and I'm like, are you guys really as MTN trying to support up and coming small businesses, or is it more of a marketing ploy where you want to be out there and seen as the company that's pushing small businesses? But after we had our conversation and after you answered, I actually saw what you're doing is And also, I think it's important that at these times we have to understand that business is business, and a time like now is especially beneficial for companies like MTN, companies like M Gurush, uh, ICT companies. This is the time now that is going to be beneficial for them in a sense that the market is really focusing on digital solutions. So I think it's good that you're using your platform to promote some of the smaller digital companies that are coming up. So give us, for example, I saw a poster about your partnership with Shilu Ana. And for those who don't understand Arabic, Shilu Ana means pick me up. If you can correct me if I'm wrong. But tell us about how that partnership is going and what made you pick that company to partner with.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so for Shiluana, it's basically a local version of Uber. And in our initial discussions with them, we were quite excited to find a partner like that who's gone through the mill and practically put out a product. So for us, it was without even having to think twice about wanting to help such a business to be able to scale. And the biggest challenge, especially when it comes to new technologies, is when an unknown brand is trying to practically bootstrap and build itself to get to the top. It's difficult, and if you've been in the startup space, and personally I've worked in startups, so I know how it feels like. So when we had our initial conversations, we were like, look, we have a brand that is MTN and likely be a technology company. We do have some credibility with people when it comes to how they view technology. So in a market like South Sudan, even though, yes, they've been trying to market themselves and put themselves out there, what can we do to enable people to understand that this thing is real, this thing works? So we said, let's put our brand together with these guys and help them push like downloads and use a lot of our network resources to say, maybe if you recharge every day, you get a recharge notification. Can we put a link in that recharge notification where someone can click and automatically get to be able to download the app? Can we use our radio channels that we already have to educate people, give them a 30-minute slot on different radio stations to go and explain what Shiluana is and what the benefits are and why it's important to move or go digital? So and as we said in our initial press release, this is a program that is targeted at getting at least 10 startups or 10 indigenous small businesses. And the focus is to be able to identify how we can be able to help. So Shiluana is one of 10 examples. I think to date, we already have about 4 new companies that are looking like taking those spots. We still have about 6 spots that are left. So for a lot of the young startups or small business guys who are on this call, you can send your one-page proposal and we are ready to really look through it, have a conversation about it. And it's really non-monetary, but it's open in the sense that we want to genuinely help to see how best to enable these small businesses, build good foundations, and also to enable them scale. There's been some of them who've applied that are not even registered companies and are already having products out there. So we said, look, we want to do this long term. How can we help you? These are our legal team. We can see how best we can help you to even register your business. So it's a general program, and COVID-19 has brought us here, but I genuinely believe that there is a lot more that we can do together to enable small businesses grow within South Sudan.
Okay, great. Now we're going to start with you, Saint, with some of the questions, and then we're going to go to Mo, and then lastly to Lam. So I'm going to give you 2 questions I have for you here. The first one is from Aliette. She asked, in regard to your small business support program, in what way specifically are you guys helping these businesses? Is it in a financial support, access to resources, connectivity deals? She says that was a little bit unclear for her, so that's what she wanted to know. And then secondly, from Emmanuel Togun, he says, hi Saint, with regards to the small business programs, do you have all the details on your website? So maybe you can answer those 2 questions for us.
Okay, thanks a lot. So with regard to the program, it's purely non-financial, and I think we reiterate that over and over again, because then once you enter the financial space, it becomes a bit tricky. It's more of logistics support. So I give the example, we are MTN, we have over 800,000 transactions on a daily basis. People look on their phones and they transact. how do we monetize that channel for a small business to enable them gain the traction or the growth that they need? So we are not going to provide you bank financing or working capital financing to enable your business scale because we're not a bank. But what we can do is to use our resources. So we said we are running a digital campaign right now with Shilu Anna to promote downloads for their app, and that is on MTN expenditure. So we will use our resources, we'll use our money, but we would not give that money to a company to say, look, this is a grant, take it and go and run your business. That is really not our forte. Our focus is the resources that we have. So the main things that we are doing now is to say marketing support to help you push your business out there, giving business advice, basically to say, okay, you can structure your business this way, or if you have Shilu Anna today, can we retrofit this application and make it a USSD based or an IVR based service? Can we include, for instance, tuk-tuks or boda-bodas in such a model to enable you have a good or a bigger market segment? So that's really how the program is designed. There was a second question, but I think I think I can see it here, which is
information on your website.
Okay, so our website is currently off for a digital company. It's not a nice thing to say, but I think it's good for us to be transparent.
Oh, no.
But we spend a lot more time on Facebook. So if you go on our Facebook page, you will see a lot of, I know somebody, you guys asked that to see what answer I'm going to give, and I'm not going to tell you that we have a website when the website is currently down. But we do a lot of our communication on Facebook. So if you go on our Facebook page, you'll find all the information about the program. And I think we already have put out the first participant in the program. And subsequently, as and when we get more companies participating or coming on board, we will put them out also on our Facebook page and all other digital channels, actually. On Twitter, on Instagram, we are also quite active there.
Okay, thank you. Mo, I'm gonna get you back in here.
Yes, Con.
For a couple of questions. Firstly, there's one here from Raphael and Ampio. Great presentation by Mo. Quick question: how many merchants, including souk traders, market traders, are currently using mGurush, and how is the acceptability, especially in Juba? Second question: will mGurush move to the increased daily transactions for SMEs due to the increase in businesses? I think she means regarding maybe the limits of sending. And there was one here also, Matt Guy, mGurush service is a great initiative in South Sudan, but my biggest worry is reach. We have some areas that have poor comms infrastructure or basically lack of network connectivity. How do we log in these people to join in for safe transactions to be conducted and hence reduce face-to-face transactions? Maybe we could start with those questions.
Thank you very much, Deng. I think digital mobile money is a very interesting product. I think because it combines technology, but also it pushes us to, all of us, to change our mindset. That's how we have done business so far. One issue, and I'm learning every day myself as I sit here, see operations. We are having a lot of tests that we are doing technologically. We are integrating the banks. We are connecting the banks already with Equity, with KCB. We're already with the core banking system. We're already even involved in enhancing and developing the core banking system of local banks like the Ivory Bank, Nile Commercial Bank, and Eden Bank. They're already on board. They have a core banking system. We need South Sudanese to get into the business, and this is how we actually can change and develop and enhance our businesses here as in South Sudan. So some of the questions have been, I've answered them individually to Matt Guy, for example. He was asking about the outreach. The outreach is that our partner is Zain, and so far what we have done, Zain has seen the potential of digital platform that we have, and they have actually increased the size of the coverage for South Sudan. If you have realized, maybe for the last 6 months, Zain has put more than 30 sites to increase their coverage. And we are feeling also that we are having more stable network as we are using our digital platform. So this business is enhancing. It is not working its own. The problem is the good thing is, mobile money is involved in so many aspects in the business. For example, we have super agents and agents. These are people in the market who have businesses. So what we do with the cash that is daily there, what we do is that our customers can go withdraw or send money or receive cash, because when they become agents in up country, for example, there are business people who have got outlets there. They have cash which has to be repatriated back to the central bank, for example, or to the commercial banks. What we do, we use that money in circulation in the market there, and it develops the market in those areas. So working with super agents and agents all over the country, it develops the businesses. It increases the velocity of money, and then you'll see that physically people are investing. And not only that, the way business has been done, because you have the system generated report is no longer manual, because once you are using the platform, you can always generate all the information and the money that you have been using. So it's one aspect. We are developing businesses. They are improving in the way they have been conducting business, and they have the cash is being availed through being members of the M-Gurush as agents or super agents. The other thing that I want to mention here is the other question of commissions. The commissions, we are paying the least commissions in terms of transaction, because we are not looking at we are looking at the volumes. And we know that with the digital platforms, we have a big potential, as the IMF have mentioned, and the World Bank and all those concerned. We have been having debate with all these institutions. We hope that we will be up to their expectations, and we have already confirmed that really it's the way to go. As we talk today, we are already talking with Juba University, for example, paying the tuition fees. We have already signed an MOU with all the banks. Most of the banks we have signed an MOU, they avail cash for the people. What happened is that before, people were having cash in their homes, in the places wherever they are. They were not bringing the money to the bank. But when we started actually bringing the people to become agents and super agents, and they become customers, we have seen the movement of cash from those private places into the banks. And this is actually for making a formal economy, an informal economy into a formal economy. People now, and even the central bank is much more happy because now they will be able to know the quantity of money which is in circulation in the economy, and they will make better monetary policies, because you have to align monetary policies and physical policies. As to now, it has been very difficult, and you will not get the right policies done, because if you don't know the quantity of money in circulation, you will not be able to do the right physical policies in terms of economy. So we have also, we are able now to have airtime. Airtime you can buy at your leisure at home, just on your mobile, anytime from Zain. You can also pay DSTV. You can. We are working together with Ezra and Juba Jetco, the electricity company, in order so the congestion that is happening because of the demand for electricity in Juba also, which is already a risk. So we are working together with the company in order for the citizens to recharge their power from the phone sets. These things are revolutionary, by the way, because so far people have not been able to do this, and we have to educate people. It will take some time so people learn this. But the good thing is, when people know this, they will be easily convinced to adapt these services, and they will own it. So we are very optimistic that this thing will change the economy. It will improve the economy, and it will stabilize. Even if now we are having COVID-19, the best thing now is to go digital with mobile money. The international remittances, as I've said, we have good news. We are opening up for other countries. The US, UK, all these countries are coming on board soon. We're becoming on, now it's only the outbound transmission that is happening, transaction is happening, but we are going to have also an inbound transactions happening soon. We are increasing. We have added now countries like Ethiopia, and we are targeting where the citizens, where the majority of our citizens are. We have started with Kenya and Uganda because we believe this is where our majority of the citizens are. We are going to Sudan. We are going to Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Burundi. This is where we are going to start, but then we will be going selectively to the other countries. I hope we are going to serve the people by doing this, because we are separated now. A lot of people have gone to India and they got cut off there because they were going only for treatment, for example. But we're trying also to open India now, because we've heard that there are so many South Sudanese which are cut off there. And they need also support from their families, because they are staying there. They did not have enough cash. They were going there for a short period and come back, but now it has gone long. So these are some of the things that the mobile money can support and help the people in. The other thing that I would like to mention is that our customers in upcountry, we have opened all in the 10 states. We are now having a presentation there. We are working very good with Zain, as we have the customers, customer care also are having. They have already learned about the products, about the products of Mguru, so they can help also. If you go to Zain care centers, you also be served you'll be served also on in terms of the Mguru products that are on that. So again, and the rest of you, I think I have answered so many of the questions that have been there. We are on the very, very foundation of this, but I believe this thing can change the country. We are looking also to work with women and youth. So far, the first projects that we did were we did solar lamps for the women, and there were more than 3,000 women, and we registered them on mobile money. The idea was for those women who are selling their grocery, their small items in the market, their money, they are not bankable. They are not banked, so the money was easily lost. So the best thing we did is that by the end of the day, these women can go to the agent or go to the customer care and deposit their money. So the money will be digital. They can go home now with their phone, but they have the digital money on, which they can use anytime. We know that our mothers and our sisters are hardworking, and we want to support them with this small project. We know that in Gudele, with 500 of them are there, we are supporting them. We try to work with the super agents and the agents to give them micro loans, and we can track them through the digital platform that we have. It is easy to monitor, it's easy to manage, and it is successful so far. We have seen that the businesses are growing, and the women are catching up very fast to manage their own businesses. The other thing is with the youth, we have been talking with the UNDP. There is a project that we are still working. I hope Deng is around. You know, you are aware of that Dencon and Denga and Niak. You guys, you have been following up the discussion with the UNDP. So there is a broad spectrum of projects and businesses that we can do with this digital platform with mobile money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much. I think there's so much interest around mobile money that maybe in the next few weeks we'll have to do one specifically about mobile money and get central bank and other people involved. But just to use the micro loans as a segue, I wanted to bring in Alam. There's a question here from your Deng. I think it was for everybody, but I'm going to ask Alam to answer it. It says, superb presentations. Quick question. How are the three businesses, i.e. MTN, Stanbic Bank, and Trinity Technologies? So we're going to just use this for Stanbic Bank as authoritative leads in their various industries, plan to financially cushion their affiliated small businesses. Should small businesses anticipate reduced prices in their products or perhaps loans? Thanks. That's from Mavur Deng. So maybe Alam, you could answer that for us. If you're still here, I think you need to unmute if you're still around.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, put on your camera for us, please.
You definitely like seeing my face there.
Yeah, and at the end of this whole thing, everyone's gonna have to put on their camera so we can take a picture of all 50 of us to see, so we can all see each other. But that'll be at the end. So, and just before you answer the question, we're gonna wrap it up in about the next 10 or 15 minutes. We're gonna speak to Emmanuel Tongun, who is our representative from the health sector, gonna give us a bit of an update what's going on there. And also we're gonna speak to Boni Gama. He has an announcement to make about the .ss domain. Sorry, so we'll be done in 15 minutes. 10, 15 minutes. Be patient. We're going to wrap it up. But go ahead. Thank you, Alam.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer this from a banking perspective. You all know that the issue with South Sudan is security, the political security, and even the risk of repayment itself if it's coming to loans. For now, from a Stanbic point, we do not do lending. And this is basically because of how the volatility of how South Sudan is at the moment. Probably if we get to a situation where there's more stability from a financial perspective, especially from a Bank of South Sudan perspective, then we can be able to facilitate other opportunities, such as encourage trade between the likes of Uganda and Kenya at the same time. But as it is right now, it's quite pretty much volatile. Sorry, there's a bit of noise coming from my side, but I hope I was clear on that. Maybe I have a couple of my colleagues online. I can just allow Ilona Mwangi, if she can just come in and comment on this as well. Ilona?
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, maybe
so, yeah, okay. So let me, Taban James. Taban is on the line.
I think if they're here, they need to unmute their microphone, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but I hope I was clear from my side. We can be able to facilitate any trade opportunities. But given the risky nature and the volatility of the market and the volatile framework of how the government is at the moment, it's pretty much difficult to ascertain anything at this point in time.
Okay. So there's going to be no loans for small businesses, but you have reduced some of your pricing for your internet or digital services.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's say, okay, let me just ask you, if I have a Stanbic account, but I don't have I didn't sign up for digital banking, do I still need to come into the branch to now get all of my stuff done for digital banking, online banking, let's say?
If you want to sign up, that is?
Yeah, I have to come in physically to the branch to sign up, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, no problem. All right, well, I think you've answered, and I mean, the question of loans in South Sudan is ongoing, and it's been ongoing maybe for the last 7 years, and maybe this is also a separate conversation that we need to have, like a banking or economic conversation. I was in discussions with Saint Hillary from MTN about this, so maybe this is something now that we have an interest in. We can maybe get together with a lot of the banks, Central Bank, World Bank, IMF, and have a better discussion about this. So for now, I wanted to invite Emmanuel Togo, if he's still here. Okay, you want to look at? Yeah?
I'm seeing my colleague. Yeah, I'm seeing my colleague Taban is on the line and is unmuted.
Okay, if he wants to say something, he's more than welcome. Taban, are you there?
Yes, I'm here then.
How are you, sir?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Please let the people know your title and your position at the bank, and then make your comments, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Taban James, the Chief Operating Officer for Stanbic Bank South Sudan. And just my comment briefly, I think thanks Alam for giving the high-level briefing on the banking sector. And of course, as Alam said, as a bank, we have to ensure, to respond to this COVID-19 on our customers and the same time even to the staff. What I have just wanted to add on what Alam has mentioned, which is what we have taken the initiative within the bank, is the issue of quarantine the cash. So what does it mean for this purpose is that once we receive the cash in the bank, we have to take some necessary response to ensure that when you deposit money today as a customer, and then the same money we cannot get it out for circulation for the next customer. So this one simply is that one of the preventive measures that we are taking internally, because we know cash is one of the transmitter for for this coronavirus. So these are some of the simple things, but I think it is good for us now as a bank. We want to encourage our customers to go on digital platform just to ensure that then we are all, they are all onboarded and they are actually now secured from this. So basically that is what we are doing. And then on the question, I think if I get you well on the banking sector concerning the loans, basically when you take around the banking sector in South Sudan, we still have a challenge of the legal framework to safeguard banks, to do the normal business, as is required within the normal banking sectors. So you can find now within the regulatory framework is not yet supporting the business, the business in South Sudan. That one bring me to on a spot of saying, if now, for example, a staff, not a staff, even customer borrow money from a bank, what are the regulations that will safeguard, the bank? We talk about the commercial code. Right now, we do not have the commercial code within the country, and then it becomes difficult for you to follow some of the, legal framework. I can still understand some of the banks that has been supporting, some customers within the country. They have been, following up some cases which they are no longer, even up to this time, some have not even recovered what they, what they have given out. So with this kind of experience, it has made life difficult for customers or for businessmen outside there on how the banks can support them, in this, in the small, say, SMEs and the rest of the things. Yeah. But that is not something that we can be able to, to workshop it here. It is something that involves the regulator and involve all the institutions of the government to support some of these things.
Yes, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, I think we need to have a separate discussion maybe to go more into depth about the banking situation in South Sudan. But thank you very much, sir. I want to move on now to speak to Emmanuel Togun, who gave us, he's in the health sector in South Sudan. They have a pharmaceutical company, and we always go to him for information about what's happening. Now, he's not, he doesn't work for the government, but he has an understanding of what's happening regarding the response to COVID-19. So, Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly today. Fantastic.
Ah, fantastic. Better headphones, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing?
All good, thanks. Emmanuel, just have a few questions for you. I'm going to give them to you all at once, and then you can answer them how you want to. We just basically wanted to get an update from you as what's the progress been for the country regarding deployment of testing kits and respirators. Since maybe the last time we spoke, I think maybe we had 4 respirators in the country, and you was talking about the kits that were coming in or some of the cartridges that were needed. Secondly, what's the capacity of the Dr. John Garang Disease Center? Are they reaching almost capacity? Give us maybe a short update of your knowledge of what's happening there. And do you know if there's plans about testing in the States, or have you got any updates from the government about what their plan is with testing in the States and also private testing by private clinics?
Okay, thank you very much, Deng. Now, with the progress with the testings, so far, I would have to say the government has increased the number of PCR machines that came in. So we have about 5 at the moment, which technically has gone up from 3 to 5. So we'll be doing about 500 tests so far, plus 500 plus tests so far. And that will actually clear up a lot of the backlog. So far, there was a backlog of about 3,500 samples which were taken, and they were never tested yet. So they have to clear all the backlog before we actually get in place. And sorry to say that if we are clearing the backlog as well, you have to remember that there will be more cases and increasing cases. So prepare for that. With regards to the capacity of the hospital at the moment, the John Garang Infectious Disease Center, a lot of donors have come in. It has 24 beds in the beginning. It's been upgraded to 90. From 90, it's now, they're pushing it up to about 240. There's a lot of training ongoing at the moment with some more doctors, more cadres to come in to help and cater for all of these people, just in case if there's a big increase in cases. But we hope not, and we hope most of the cases don't actually need hospitalization and can be dealt with at home. Going forward, with respect to the laboratory, they're doing fantastic so far, trying to catch up with all the backlog, with new machines coming in and a bit of help coming in from Khartoum as well. Collection teams are out of the ground, going and doing their work. Lab techs are now getting their incentives, and they're a bit working on a rotational shift, so the stress is not as bad. The hospitals trainings are ongoing with everyone. Ventilators. Yes, we have new ventilators. We have now, I think, there was original 4, then there was another 5 donated, then there was another 5 donated, and another 10 that arrived. So we're looking at about almost 30 plus ventilators. The problem is not the ventilators or the respirators. The problem is how to use them. So there's a lot of training now on getting some of the doctors in order to know how to use it. Some of the nurses in order to know how to intubate a patient and also extubate it, because if you don't do it properly, you may actually end up killing the patient. And so the training is actually ongoing a lot at the moment. They actually have brought in some oxygen tanks as well, because technically the respirators, we are talking about respirators, but you cannot have respirators without oxygen tanks. It's like buying a vehicle without having a fuel station around, which actually defeats the purpose. So I don't know why the focus was on respirators all before without having to look at the other things. PPEs, the hospitals are doing fantastic now. There's a lot of PPEs coming in. Some of them actually arrived in the on Tuesday. A lot of PPEs for both the hospital staff and laboratory staff. So at least in that sector, we're more or less covered very well. With respect to what you said with the donors, and no, I'm sorry, the state issue. So far, there's plans to expand on the state issue, and that's one area I was actually working and helping them in, is with the use of the gene expert equipment. UNDP, we're pushing very hard with them to procure the gene expert cartridges. The software has already arrived, so it was easy to get the software because they sent the software and it was downloaded. The cartridges should have been here already, but there's a delay in the shipment. The training and recalibration of the gene expert machines in Juba have already started, and they are tested with limited test capacities, so hopefully that will run. The good thing with that is we have 30 gene experts, which are currently running in South Sudan. So all we have to do is now calibrate them with the new software. And once they're calibrated and the kits are on the ground, a little bit of support from the Ministry of Health in terms of sending PPEs and some more stuff over to the States, then we should be able to do the testings in the States. The areas that were actually being focused on, one of them was Rumbek. Nimule, of course, Nimule is a big area. One of them is Rumbek, Nimule, Awil, they were looking at Ural, Yambio and Anzara will be covered in one area, Torit as well as Renk and Malakal and Bentiu. These were some of the main target areas which have been looked at, and also Awil, let me not forget Awil. With respect to further testing as well, we have this donation from the East African community through the GTZ, or GTI, sorry, it's now called GTI. The lab, there's a lab as well as a support car, mobile laboratory with support car and its staff. They're supposed to be landing very soon to South Sudan. And as soon as they do come in, we hope actually people are pushing for it to be sent to Nimule, because that's the key entry point where a lot of the drivers are actually getting tested positive as they're coming in at the moment. So we have to secure Nimule, because not only for the driver's point of view, but also it's a big conduit for people coming to South Sudan. I mean, to Juba mainly, sorry. And once we target all the drivers, we have to look at now the support staff, especially people working there, from the loaders to the customs officials, etc., who are working within the Nimule. I hope that gives you a very quick brief. I know we're running out of time, so I have to run things quickly. I can see there's some questions which have been sent up. I don't know if there's anything addressed to me.
I'm not sure. I'm looking now. I don't think so. I think these are also questions about other things. But thank you for that. And I think it's always great to have somebody like yourself who's in the private sector.
One more thing you forgot to mention.
Go ahead.
You asked about private testing. So far, we don't have any private testing being done in South Sudan. We don't have any private testing or private laboratories doing the tests in South Sudan. We had tried very hard to talk about it, and there's been delays and there's been ups and downs and upgrades. I know of only two companies that have, two private laboratories that do have PCR machines ready in South Sudan, but they're limited capacities. And it would have been great to actually incorporate them into the testing systems. It has been brought up, but of course, unfortunately, the government is thinking, no, they should use the national lab. Well, to be honest, I believe the private sector is actually better equipped in terms of having, they have very good cadres who are working within the private sectors in various hospitals and various laboratories. There are some also, there's a PCR equipment with the UN, but that's actually for their own use. And so nothing has been done. It would be great to integrate all that and have some testing done in some of these areas. If support was given to the private sector, it would have been very good to push for this item and to get some of the tests actually done even within the clinics. Even the excess tests can be done within the clinics at night, for example, where you run the PCR machine for some in the low time for some of these extra kits. And I'm really sad to say, as the Secretary General for the private health sector in South Sudan, we had brought this up in, it was in February, with the central bank as well as the Ministry of Finance, and we were trying to get some PCR machines, by the way, for the private sector. And unfortunately, to this day, our letters are still sitting there. We're going for meetings after meetings after meetings, and there's no support being given to the private sector. So it really, really, really is disappointing, I would say. Otherwise, there would have been at least 4 extra PCR machines in Juba, South Sudan.
Yeah. There's a question here for you from Lillian V. Rizik. She wants to know about her questions about ordinary citizens and their access to testing. Currently, it seems the testing is only focusing on government officials. How about the ordinary citizens? Is her perception because of what's on the news, or is that a reality?
Okay, it's not only focusing on government officials. A lot of the government officials were the first ones to test positive. So a lot of them actually, it went, of course, a lot of them actually were tested because of the fact that they interact a lot and they had a lot of meetings and interactions with each other. A lot of other citizens are ongoing, but the problem is at the moment, we have to understand, as much as we want, the government also wants to do testing in 5 zones, having divided Juba into 5 different zones and to do random testings of people. What's limiting us has been the capacity. It's one thing to do testing, but at the same time, we didn't have the capacity to run all the samples. So some of the samples, actually, there's a backlog of up to 1 week to get the samples running. So as much as this is going on, we have now the new PCR machines, and hopefully the backlog will be cleared. Citizens can also go for testings, and there's a lot of people who are going and getting tested. If you feel, for example, that you are suffering from dry cough and you have a fever and for example, tonsillitis and the symptoms of any COVID-19 unexplained issue, it's good. You can go to the John Garang Infectious Disease Center and actually get tested. If you tell them you're on alert and you actually have been feeling A, B, C, D, they will actually prioritize your testing immediately. So it's actually open for the public as well, not just government officials.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I'm seeing a lot of comments really commending you and thanking you for giving us your updates. It's good to have somebody on the inside. So thank you, sir. Now, just quickly before we wrap up, I want to let Abuni come. Abuni contacted me earlier. Abuni is the CEO of Dynamic Consult, digital ICT company here in Juba. And he had some information about the upcoming release of the .ss domain. Abuni, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you, Deng. Like Deng has said, my name is Joseph Abuni Gama, and I'm the CEO of Dynamic Consults Limited, which is an ICT company that is there to encourage the uptake of technology through development of websites, application, databases, commissioning of third-party softwares, and entry-level sort of ICT products. As we talk here, digitalization comes in quite strongly. I think it's going to be the solution to so many things that we're going to be doing. So it's important that I thought I would bring this announcement and share with you the development that is happening in the ICT sector. So one of the things that is important is the infrastructure. Obviously, we have infrastructure in terms of internet speed. Now we have electricity in our homes. Okay, not so much, but it's better than what we had before. So that is a very good development. And then we have the .ss domain. I think for the last 7 years, it's a conversation that has been happening around it, but finally it's coming to its fruition. So effective on the 1st of June, the government is going to, through the use of registrars, which is like ourselves, they're going to start rolling out the .ss domains. What are the benefits of, you would ask, how is it important to us? For one, it's going to give us some sort of confidence in the ICT sector. You would see that in neighboring countries, Uganda, Kenya, wherever it is, they always have a .ug, .ke extension. We're going to have one of our own. So it's going to bring in some innovation, and it's going to encourage some confidence in our ICT sector. It also creates new business opportunities. Like for now, if I wanted, I went online and say found dencon.com, I'll probably not get it. But if I went and searched dencon.com.ss, so it allows new innovations in terms of domain names and allows us, even though we've come late, we can be able to have domain names for ourselves. Thirdly, it creates new business opportunities. So registrars, remember the government is not going to be rolling out these things by themselves. They're going to be looking for IT companies. Any person interested to invest in infrastructure will be able to, they will allow you to become a reseller. So you'll be able to sell your products. If you maybe in Kenya or Uganda, you would see Google has google.co.ke or google.something. So that gives us an opportunity for South Sudan as well. So we'll be able to have yahoo.com.ss, facebook.com.ss, and so many other, the Fortune 500 companies will be running back to South Sudan to buy their domain name. So effective from the 1st of June, there will be this section called the sunrise period. The sunrise period will run for 45 days. So any company that has a trademark, like mgurush.com.ss, you want to make sure you get that domain. Otherwise, somebody else will get it. mtn.com.ss, obviously MTN wants to make sure. And so that also Facebook is going to rush into making sure that they get this thing. So how does NCA plan to roll it out? They're going to roll it out through the use of registrars. NCA is not going to do the registration by themselves. They would probably do it for government agencies, but any private institution has to go through a registrar. And I would like to mention that Dynamic Consult has put in the time and the effort into coming up with our own platform. We're just running some tests now, but effective 1st of June, it's going to be running. And we'll be glad to say that we'll be receiving payments through mGrush so that someone can buy a domain. It's a thing that has not existed here for a while. People used to use, mainly right now, you want to buy a domain, you want to use PayPal or Visa card or whatever it is. So we wanted to bring it closer to home, and you can be able to do that through your mGrush. So our platform is going to get called Names for Us. And if you can check it out online and do your search for .ss domains, and they're available. You'll not be able to buy them yet. It's just at the testing stage. So that's a good development for us. I think it's a very good thing to share with you guys as we're moving towards digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abuni. You know already which websites are reserved for me. Good vibes.
I'm going to book that for you already.
No problem.
So the 45 days, you guys need to take advantage of it. If you don't do it, once that period expires, people like me now would be buying those names and selling it out at a higher price. So.
Okay, look, I think you have to make it clear, because we spoke about this earlier. So you have to make it clear that companies that are well established, that have their names, they have their period where they can come now, and there's no competition. They'll freely be allowed to get their name, because that's who they are.
Exactly. That's all they have to present is this thing belongs to us, and you'll be given that domain name.
But after that, it's open season, and anybody can come and buy your domain, and then it'll be up to them. It's a seller's market, and they can sell it to you for whatever price they want.
Exactly. That's what's going to happen. A very nice thing that I would like to share, like the name, like if you get a domain like ki.ss, KISS, it's a very beautiful name you would like to have. I mean, everybody would rush to, it's going to be competitive. Yeah. So, so it's an opportunity that a lot of people are not looking at, but I thought to share that information with you guys.
Thank you. That's very good. I think people will be racking their brains tonight of what they want their domain name to be.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Guys, I know everybody.
Yeah, and if you want more, and if they need more information, I'll be glad to share it. I don't know how I can share my contact, but you can check us out, namesforus.com. Yes, I can share my contact there as well. Yeah.
Share it in the text box. All right, guys, thank you. We've been on for quite a while now. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and tuning in. I know there were some questions maybe we didn't get to, and some people that wanted to have a say, but I think this is something we're going to be doing weekly. I think as Dubai Business Network, this is very important for people within our network to have a chance to discuss what they're doing, and also for people to get ideas of how we can come together as a community of business people. The private sector has a big influence on how things can be done. And if we can get ideas across and come together to understand how we can try to help the country at these times, it's very important. Now, one last thing before we go, I want everybody to turn on their, because I want to capture these images. It doesn't matter if it's only going to be for 1 minute. Everybody turn on your camera so to have a look at everybody and say hi. And we'll be back to our networking very soon of Good Vibes Business Network, where we can see each other face to face. But this is as close as we can get. So this is great. Everybody's turning on. Wow. Wow, what a nice, diverse group of business people also, man. Amazing. Yeah, would like to thank everybody so much for coming. And if you could email me, info@goodvibesafrica.com, to maybe if you have some suggestions, or if you know me personally or through our social media, to suggest maybe some other discussions that we could have that are specific to a specific sector of the private sector, or if there's an extra type of conversation you might want to have. Maybe if you want Emmanuel to have a more in-depth conversation about health, or more in-depth conversation about banking with those of Raphael. And yeah, that's it really, man. So we'd like to thank you, everybody, for coming. This has been recorded and it will be posted up on YouTube, and we'll be sharing through our social media. So thanks so much, guys, for coming. Bye. Can we get a wave? Bye-bye. Fantastic. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Ding. It's great to see everybody.
See you guys. Eid Mubarak to you all, and stay safe. Stay at home. This thing is dangerous. Stay at home.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys.
Happy Eid. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.